this crowd, everybody. It's fantastic to be in a room with people, isn't it? Thank you so much, Janice, for your kind words. You know, folks, I am so happy to be here with you in Hamilton. Like my hometown of Winnipeg, it is fantastic to be in a Labour heartland. A town with people fighting for their rights for over 150 years. Every step of the way, workers here doing the hard work of organizing, mobilizing, and acting in unison together, overcoming obstacles put in their path by wealthy interests and by their friends in government. Workers in this town have fought hard every step of the way for every inch of progress. And standing right here makes me think of the steelworkers. The steelworkers who gathered here for their very first Canadian meeting in 1936. Those folks rallied workers and they rallied their community to win recognition. And today we stand on the shoulders of these activists and of these organizers. And we're going to continue their great legacy as we fight for fair pay, for better working conditions, and for decent pensions for all workers. I am so proud to stand here as the president of the Canadian Labour Congress. At the CLC, we represent over 3 million workers right across this country. But I got to tell you, we don't just represent those 3 million workers, we are the voice for every worker right across this country. Our movement is growing. I discovered the power of being a union worker as a young person when I was hired to stock shelves at a Winnipeg grocery store. And I learned at that grocery store what workers can achieve after a 125-day strike when they stick together in solidarity. I'm always impressed by the young workers that are standing up for each other, who are fed up with the status quo and who are demanding better. And we all in this room know that when unions are weakened, we all collectively as a society pay that price. The workers' share of the wealth over the last number of years and decades has kept going down, and we've seen corporate profits soar to unimaginable heights. It is shameful. But you know what, folks? We have the antidote. The power of collective action. We know that when workers are walking the picket line, it's New Democrats who will be walking with us. I'm so proud to have walked the picket line with Jagmeet, with so many NDP MPs, MLAs, MPPs, party members and activists right across this country. You know, we remember that Labour was there when the NDP was founded, and we've stood and fought together for every inch of progress. And so I'm proud to be here today to continue the work on this important partnership. We also, I don't know if you guys are watching the news lately, but we saw very big news coming out of the United States that an American president, President Biden, walked the line with striking auto workers. Who would have thought that we'd see a U.S. president actually walking a picket line? But my friends, tell me, who have we never seen walking a picket line in this country? Pierre Poilievre. You know, I know he talks a lot these days about standing with workers, but that's not what he does. Let's take a peek behind his rhetoric, his friendly, cuddly rhetoric about embracing workers. When we take a look behind the scenes, we find a long track record of anti-worker actions. He is just another conservative politician who's tried to strip away workers' rights every time he had the opportunity. And you folks right in Ontario here, you folks know what I'm talking about. You've most recently been through and continue to be reliving the Doug Ford experience. We know that folks like Doug Ford and Pierre Poilievre talk about helping workers, and then they want to pass things like wage restraint legislation and take away workers' rights. And now here's Pierre Poilievre trying to take the sham at the national level. We remember those Harper conservative anti-union bills. They tried to weaken unions, making it harder to organize workers, tried to undermine our ability to represent workers. And where was Pierre Poilievre in all this? He was at the cabinet table. He championed all of these bills, and it's by no accident that Stephen Harper chose him. He has been an MP since he was 25 years old, and for the past 20 years, he has attacked the RAND formula, and he's gone after the union's abilities to operate, to organize, or to advance the interests of workers. He rose regularly in the House of Commons to attack the labour movement. So, friends, we know that whatever pretty words he uses today, a Conservative government led by Pierre Poilievre poses a clear danger to every worker in Canada. Sorry, when I get going, you got to take a moment for a moment. I know that sometimes it feels like we have a really tall task ahead of us, my friends, but I'm bringing you some really good news from Manitoba. You've heard that really good news, as I can see. Voters in Manitoba said no to Conservative social media rage farming. They rejected those who are cynically trying to use hate and division to stay in power. Manitobans across the province elected my friend, Wab Kinew, to be the premier of a majority NDP government in my province. And we also sent a very strong message through that election campaign that the rights of trans people are not negotiable. We pushed back in Manitoba, and last Tuesday I was in Regina, rallying against Scott Moe's attacks on the rights of young people to be who they are. I spoke with a young person named Memphis Hartman. He's a transgender youth who uses the pronoun he. He is part of his high school's Gay Straight Alliance. He's a grade 12 student. He spoke with such grace and eloquence and gratitude about the teachers who always believed in him. He showed such courage standing up against a wall of hateful protesters that were out to counter-protest. And it was so meaningful, it moved all of us who were there that day. We know that schools have to be a safe place for all kids, a place to learn, a place to grow, and a place to thrive. And we will continue to stand in solidarity with Memphis and with all the LGBTQ and gender-diverse young people fighting for their rights. And we're going to continue to stand against the parade of right-wingers who are using children as pawns for their hateful political agenda. My friends, we stood up to Heather Stephenson in Manitoba. We're standing up to Scott Moe in Saskatchewan. And I have a message for Premier Blaine Higgs. If you call an election, we will be there too. And we're going to fight your hateful agenda every step of the way. Manitobans delivered a clear message to politicians across the country. We showed what we can do when we work together, hard at organizing, at engaging voters, and staying focused on helping people. Positive politics can win. And our message is echoing in the ears of Pierre Poilievre and Conservative leaders across this country. We will defeat you too. And folks, what a difference winning elections makes. We've seen what an NDP government in BC has delivered for workers. Leading the way on permanent paid sick leave, on protecting health care, on bringing back card check legislation to make it easier to form a union. And we have been so proud to work with Jagmeet and the NDP as they use their influence to make real gains for working people. Just look at what they've delivered so far. a GST rebate to help the pocketbook for families in tough times, national dental care that would never have happened without the NDP. But because of you, every worker and their family can now visit a dentist in this country. And a Sustainable Jobs Act. Now workers will be at the decision-making table as Canada creates new sustainable jobs in a low-carbon economy. Together, as we ramp up our fight for climate change, we will make sure that no worker gets left behind. And my friends, after decades of hard work, and I'm looking at the steelworkers because they have the most loudly championed this particular issue year after year after year, we are finally going to see the government table an anti-scab bill. Now is time to finish the job. Together we're going to force this government to pass a strong and effective law that bans the use of scabs once and for all. Too many workers and families are faced with impossible choices today. Rising food, shelter, gas, and energy bills, while Big Pharma rakes in huge profits and families struggle to pay for their medicines. Soon, we're going to have long overdue pharmacare legislation. But we all in this room know that in order to bring medicines within the reach of everybody who needs it, we will need a publicly funded, a publicly delivered, universal pharmacare plan. And friends, those wins are what just 25 NDP MPs can accomplish. Just imagine what a government led by Prime Minister Jagmeet Singh will deliver. Are you ready to work with me to make that happen? The labor movement is ready to work with you. We are ready to engage workers and to mobilize our workplaces and to get behind Jagmeet and the NDP. But we can only do this if we stand together, connected by our common goals, and act in unity and in solidarity. Are you ready to stand up for worker rights in this country? Are you ready to build a more equal, inclusive, and fair society? And are you ready to never, ever let those in power take us backwards? Me too. Now let's get to work. Solidarity.